me ask you this, just for perspective. If I'm looking at Crosstown LSU, who you guys, of course, went on the road and beat last year, and I look at their roster, what do you think, just an estimate, maybe what they're spending maybe in NIL and collective for the players that they have?
Oh, man. Tough question. I know there was conversation had about that 23 team, I think, that won a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around $3 or $4 million was on the field when we played them that year. I don't know. Me and Coach Johnson never had those conversations about what he has to play with.
Yeah.
To sign guys in NIL, but I would say he got a pretty good amount over there. But somewhere around that $3 to $6 million is probably what they have in collectives.
Woo!
We ain't even talking about budget. We talking about extra money. And not to mention they got one of the highest budgets in college baseball. I think that 23 year they put out the top budgeted programs in college baseball, and I think of those 10 they put out, 6 of them was in the College World Series.
And see, why I asked that question, because I try to peel back the layers, pull the curtain back for people who may not understand the different, what they say is levels to this. And for people who may not understand the difference, like you look across town and you say, okay, they winning, you know what they're doing just from an outside perspective, but to get a true idea of the amount of money that's being pumped into that program. And then we look across town and back at Southern, it's like, all right, we went over there and beat that $3 million on the field, $3 to $6 million on the field last year, right? With guys where we saying NIL is not even a thing right now for a place like Southern when it comes to baseball. But it's just it's time to look at the real world and say, basically, if you're trying to get to Omaha, you're going to have to put a couple $1 million on the field.
Somewhere around there. I don't think it's got to be $1 million, but you get you 3 or 4 pitchers that you can, that really, like when the game is on the line, you put them in and get 2, 3 hitters in the middle of your lineup that's productive from the start to the finish. Man, you can do a lot with that. And I don't think you got to be spending millions of dollars to do that, but maybe a couple $100,000 or a couple $100,000 back into the program. It just depends on what all you can provide for your kids.
And that's, I think, the biggest thing, especially for our program, right? Because we look at Southern. We know Southern is a low-resource institution, but our expectations are through the roof. And I have this conversation all the time, even here on this show, saying, you know, we expect championships. We expect our coaches to do a lot with a little, right? And when you guys do go out and create a lot with a little, what are we doing the next year to pour back into that program? There's no way we should show up in that program is in the same situation that it was in the previous year after winning a championship, right? Conference championship is a start. Every sport on that campus, aside from football, has an opportunity to go out and compete for a national championship, And the huge thing about it is you have to pour back into the program. And I always challenge our listeners, I always challenge people out there to understand, we can yell and cry about championships all day, every day. Okay, once we bring one home, what do we do now? What are we doing to now elevate the program to help boost it so you can be 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead further than what you were the previous year? No way you come back the next year still dealing with the same exact things or maybe more the next year. That's what we have to do. We got to pour back into our programs, in particular baseball, because I don't think people understand the true need of what it takes to run a baseball program at a high level. And I'm not just talking about at the SWAC level. I'm talking about a legit, what we call the mid-major program here in this country when we talk about Division I baseball. So, Coach, I always love to have that conversation, because what I like to do, once again, is peel back the layers and give people a little bit better opportunity to see that it go beyond the wins and the losses. It's the operations on how things have to function these days. And it's always been operations, but more now than ever, operations really matter. And you talking about even with that budget and pouring back into the program, which is why, once again, Coach, pouring back into the program, you have that event coming up. Give the people one more time the information for that event so they can buy tickets. And even if you don't show up, still buy the tickets to help pour back into this program.
You can go to the Alumni Federation website and search Baseball First Pitch Banquet. It's on their website. We also have a link on Instagram. You can go to Southern U BSB on Twitter and Instagram. The links are on there to sign up and make donations or say you want to attend the event. So it's on those three platforms, and look forward to seeing some people out there that I don't know. Hopefully I can beat you.
Well, man, I appreciate you. People out there, please come out and support the program. Needs you. And, Coach, man, first pitch, of course, I'll have you back on here in a couple weeks. We'll talk about some baseball and break this thing down a lot more, looking at the schedule and everything else, man. Appreciate you for coming on this weekend, man, and stay warm.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.